So welcome back to another episode, and it's been 29 years since I played this Ys game right here on the Sega Master System. And 29 years later, I didn't think I'd be playing the 8th game in the series, and it's kind of amazing that I am. And I played this on the PS4. I want to thank NIS for sending over a review copy. I've been playing it for the last week and a half, non-stop. And I just got to come in and talk about it here because there is so much to get into. I'm not going to do any spoilers. I'm just going to talk about the game in a very general way, and I'm going to avoid any story plot bits or anything like that. So no worries there. There's no worries. So to start with, you can pick your language. You can play the game in Japanese or in English. It starts off with Adol and Doji, and they're on a ship. The ship is attacked. They're in some terrible weather, and all of a sudden they're overboard, and they get washed onto this deserted island. And how many times has this happened to Adol in his time? I honestly think Adol is a bit of a drinker because he's always waking up on a shore somewhere going, how the hell did I get here? What the hell happened? And that's how the basic story begins. And it's all about you discovering and exploring this island and finding different people who have also washed ashore and some people who have been abandoned on this island for a long period of time. And what you're really doing is going out and searching for these people and then bringing them back to your base and then expanding your base. And by bringing in more people, new abilities and new jobs open up for them. So some people come into your base and they start making potions for you. Others become tailors. Others become blacksmiths and start making equipment for you. So your home base starts to expand, and it's really cool how that happens. And you also build up the structure of your home base. So a lot of time is spent running around the island, collecting materials, crafting wise, bringing them back to your home base and having, say the blacksmith make brand new armor or brand new weapons for you. Or, as you say, the tailor creating brand new clothing for you. So there's a lot of that stuff going on. You're also taking on a lot of quests within the town itself. There's a quest board that you can go up and look at and go into the world and explore and do these quests as well. So there's no shortage of things to do in Ys 8. There's always a lot going on, and most of the bread and butter of any Ys game is the combat, is going out into the world and fighting monsters over and over and over again and grinding. That is one of the things I love the most in Ys games, is being able to go and do that countless grinding over and over and over again. And that is here. And I gotta say, the combat is handled exceptionally well, and you're not just playing solo, you have a bunch of other characters with you. And they all have different abilities, so you might get to one enemy and try to attack it, and you can't do any damage against it. So you bring in a different character who may be able to break their defenses with their weapon. So you're always constantly switching between characters based on the different fights and different enemies you encounter. So not only do you have normal attacks, but you also have special abilities that you can build up and level up. And they're very devastating to unleash on enemies. A lot of fun to fuck the enemies up with these. Really good stuff. But you also have a major super that you can unleash, and each character has their own, and this has some devastating effects on some boss characters and large groups of enemies. So there's other things you can do besides grinding. You can go fishing, you can get a rod, you can cast it, get some bait, and wait and see if you catch a fish. And there's many different kinds of fish that you can get, and also you can trade in these fish on certain quests to get certain kinds of items. So I have to talk about the graphics here. How are the graphics? They're pretty good. They're not bad. This is no Horizon Zero Dawn, and know that going in. You're not going to be blown away by next generation graphics, but for a company like Falcom to do a full 3D Ys game, as good looking as this is, I'm absolutely impressed. It's a very cartoony, anime style, bright world, but it's very, very detailed. And I will say that there were times when I was a little taken back by the graphics. I was like, wow, I can't believe Falcom did this in their first real big attempt at a 3D Ys game. It was very impressive. Yeah, there's some beautiful locations with waterfalls coming down and rainbows going into it. You know, looking over onto the ocean from a mountainside. It's really, really nice. Now, you can't mention an Ys game without talking about the music. And Ys is legendarily known for its music, its top tier music, and how good the music is. And how does Ys 8 fit in to the legacy of the Ys music? That's a tough one to say because there's a lot of really great music in here. I'd say medium to higher in that spectrum. It's very, very good music. It's not as good as, say, like Ys 3, but man, what is? Ys 3 is a phenomenal soundtrack, but you won't be disappointed going into new areas and hearing the blasting music. It's really, really nice, and this is one song that got caught in my head. It's very subtle, but I thought it was fantastic. So what can I say? This is an action RPG. This is the next one in the Ys series. Have they accomplished it? Have they pulled it off? Yes, I think they've done extremely well. There's a few things that I had gripes with, and that was the mapping system. I thought the maps were absolutely kind of dumb in this game. And the reason why is because you had 4 of them. So you had a basic map on your left side and you could blow it up to whatever size that you want it. So you have that map. And then you have the map of the overworld, the entire world. And so you look at that. And then there's sections within there that are maps as well. And then there's different levels of those maps. So you could be on a lower level or a higher level of a given map of the main world. It gets really confusing. There was some times I was like, where the hell am I going? And you can set a destination on the map, and I was going, following the arrow, and then I just run into the side of a mountain and I can't progress any further. I'm like, where am I supposed to go? But I remembered this is an exploration game. It's about backtracking. It's about figuring out where to go next. But sometimes with this mapping system, it was very confusing. The game is a bit of a slow burn. It starts very slow and you're sitting in so many tutorials and they keep adding layers upon layers upon layers upon layers of things that you'll need to do in the game. And then you find out at one point that you really don't need to do all of these things. Not really. You can. They're optional. Some things you have to do, but the basics of it all, no, you don't. So don't get flustered in the beginning when you see all of these different things going, oh my god, how many layers of this game are there? It's a lot simpler than you think. They overcomplicate it, I think, in their presentation of it at first. And it's a slow burn, but it does become a lot more epic as the game goes on, and there's some incredible boss encounters in this game. These monsters are so detailed and, you know, animate incredibly well, and I was absolutely applauding Falcom the whole way because, as I say, I didn't think Falcom had this in them to do a 3D Ys game and do as much justice as they've done. It's a really good game. Is it as good as some past Ys games? That's debatable, but I think it's one of the better Ys games that's ever been released. But the story does change at one point, and a lot of people may either like it or really dislike it, and I'm gonna lean in the I liked it zone. There's a lot of unexpected story moments. And my friend Greg played through the Vita version of this game, and obviously the Vita version came out in Japan before the PS4 version. How is it compared to the Vita version? I can't say for sure because he was telling me there's a lot of frame rate issues with the Vita version. Is there frame rate issues with this game? Not that I've seen. I've seen some pop-up, but the frame rate remains pretty good overall. Here's another thing. The game is one of the longest Ys games that you will play, honestly, and that's also dependent on what difficulty you set it on. I played it on normal, and I think I finished the game in about 35 hours, so it wasn't super long that way, but if you have it on harder difficulties, it'll extend the game a little bit. And that's another thing, a lot of dialogue in this game. So many characters are blabbering away, and I sped through a lot of that, and I got through 35 hours of it. So it all depends on what difficulty you have, how fast you go through the game, how many side quests you do. There is a lot to delve into here. There are so many secrets to discover on this island, and even I have not discovered all of them. There's so much to go and check out, and there's so much to do. And I think this is a very, very good Ys game, and I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Absolutely. So anyways, guys, until next time.